Part 16 of the job search. I'm 1 month in. I filed 100 applications. Stay to the end for the outcome data. Really like far above average outcomes. Part of that is just because I'm a senior, and part of that is because I have some evidence-based techniques that you can read about on the Latterly blog. Some of the other important milestones and techniques that I've been using so far in the job search. One, I have done practice interview rounds for all 3 standard interview types. So behavioral, system design, and lots of leak code and coding round prep. I have hardened my behavioral round answers. So I did a brain dump at the start of the job search, including stories that totally don't matter. Then I formatted them into the STAR method. And then what I did is I looked for standard behavioral questions, and I just did shadow interview with myself. And I used GPT-4 a bit here, pick one of these questions or make up one. And I looked at my list of STAR method answers, and I found my top 5 that I was using to answer most of these questions, and I really hardened those. 3 steps of the hardening process. 1, just repetition. 2, writing out the full answer I would give in an interview. Not the formulaic 1-sentence STAR method, 1 sentence for the S and so forth, but a narrative style, which ended up taking about 1 page per question, and I did these for my top 5. 3rd step was augmenting the STAR method with a reflection and with a retrospective. So maybe like 2 more R's on your STAR. The reflection, after I deliver the story and I state the result, I then say, here's what I like about this story. So I can be crystal clear about the signal that I'm trying to communicate, whether it's this one shows priority, this one shows communication, collaboration, whatever it is. I state what I think the signal is supposed to be. The other R, the retrospective, is if I could do this over again, here's what I would change. And I think that can show even more signal. Even if there's not things that you did in the story, it can still show a positive signal on your behalf. I went over these with my coach. So I already had a coach before the layoff, and I was using that coach to help me get into management. Obviously the layoff interrupted that. We pivoted, and I was able to reuse my coach's time to help me make sure these behavioral answers were really good. I think we're doing good there. And so then I paused our sessions together. So that was another thing that I've done in this month is I've paused my coaching sessions. Will pick it back up when I have another job. And then the last big milestone, and here we'll start getting into outcomes. I had my first final loop yesterday. So we're 1 month into the job search. That's 2 weeks after being laid off. So my job search started when I got my layoff notice, but the layoff was effective after the notice. So they gave me like 2 weeks notice before the layoff was effective. So you could say I had my first final loop at a well-known company. This is a company I'd love to work at if they make an offer. Had my first final loop 2 weeks after being laid off, which I think is a record in itself. Overall, these 100 applications resulted in 13 first round interviews. And then as you can see, some of them have progressed all the way to the final loop. This is an underestimate or a conservative estimate because some of those applications, right, were submitted towards the end of the month, and they may still turn out to yield interviews later on. So this is going to be a conservative minimum result, which is already way above the average in this market. Those 100 job posts were associated to 78 unique companies. I tracked all this data on the job search tracker template, and I will be open sourcing my results after everything is said and done. Here's some things I did not do. I did not tailor my resume to every application. I did not do cover letters. In a few instances, if the application form had a box, like a web form box that said anything else we should know, I would add a couple sentences there if I felt like it, but there was no across the board rule. Really interesting fact here, 7 of my 13 first round interviews were inbound, means someone reached out to me and I did not have my open to work banner activated. Thanks for watching. Again, Latterly.io will go over the techniques that drive these above average outcomes, including networking techniques, job boards, and more. Latterly is open source. So if you have a hot job search technique, I hope you'll drop a comment or join the Discord, Latterly.io. We can chat about it over there or submit a pull request. I hope you'll like, follow, and share, and I'll hear from you soon.